A ring of Lightbringer agents stood around the mouth of the alley, weapons at the ready. Summoned balls of light hung high over the street, filling the air with a soft blue radiance without spoiling their night vision. Two of the soldiers swung their guns toward Kate and David as they approached. Kate smirked and raised her right hand, sending a small effort of will into her index finger. The fingertip glowed with green light, and she used it to draw out the words, "Hi, Janus," followed by a smiley face. The figment floated up and hung in the air above her as she approached, following her like the word balloons in a comic strip. Agent Janus Starson, field commander of the Lothanasi, came out from the circle of soldiers with a glowing sword in his hand. He was an imposing man, over 190 centimeters of lean muscle on a powerful frame. He had a tiger's grace, every motion confident and without a moment's wasted effort. Piercing blue eyes glared at Kate above an aquiline nose. His prominent cheekbones stood out in sharp contrast in the blue-white light, throwing the sides of his face into shadow. His broad, thin lips were set in a hard line. Kate showed him an excessively cheery smile. "Good morning, Janus. How's the hunting today?" Janus gave her a cursory bow that was little more than a nod. "Detective Kitaen?" A deeper bow to David. "Detective Silverleaf?" "Agent Starson," the elf said, returning the gesture. "Here you got a DB for us to check out," Kate said. She nodded toward the alley. "In there, I take it?" "Detective," Janus held up a hand. "We haven't yet determined whether this case falls within your jurisdiction. There's evidence at least one supernatural predator was present at the scene." "Fair enough," Kate said, easily. "Let's take a look and see what we find. If this turns out to be a job for the monster hunters, I'll be more than happy to let you handle it. But if not, then it's our show." Janus's frown deepened, but he nodded. "Very well." He turned aside and let Kate and David walk past him into the alley. The smell struck her first. Not the stench of voided bowels, usually found among the freshly dead, nor the putrescence of a body that had begun to decay. This crime scene smelled like bacon that had been left too long on the griddle. With one look at the body, it was easy to see why. The shriveled husk of a man, or something approximating a man, lay on the asphalt beside a rusty fire escape. Kate's first impression was of a mummy, leathery skin stretched tight over the bones. The body lay with legs folded beneath it, as if the victim had fallen to his knees and then tipped over backwards. The arms were tucked up against the sides of the chest, the fingers curled into claws. The eyes were gone, leaving only blackened pits in their place. The mouth yawned wide in a rictus of pain or fear, though it might simply have been pulled open by the withering tendons in the jaw. The man's hair and beard remained, but the hairs had curled and fused together, as from an intense heat. Most striking of all was the man's torso. The chest cavity was, for lack of a better term, a smoldering crater. Blackened ribs sprung out on either side of a gruesome cinder-filled hole, which ran from the man's throat down to somewhere in the vicinity of his navel. "By the prophet," Kate breathed, unable to look away. She had seen some terrible things in her years as a cop, but this was a new one. A gentle hand grasped her shoulder, and she heard David's voice in her ear. "Kathryn, are you all right?" Kate blinked, shook herself, and tore her eyes away from the corpse. Yeah, I'm all right." She took a deep breath, then immediately regretted it, as that burnt bacon scent filled her nose again. She forced down the nausea and turned her attention to the rest of the alley.